And Dal, if you are ready, you're more than welcome to get started.
Okay. Um, Thank you very much, Mitchell. I'm glad to be here with all of you. Thanks to each of you for joining. Um, so we're just going to dive right into it. We're all familiar with PDFs and the benefits that can come with it, but also the challenges, especially when it comes to accessibility. Um, I'll go ahead and share my screen, and we can um, talk through this portion. There we go. I'm much more familiar with Teams than Zoom, so please pardon this display delay. Okay, I am sharing the entire screen. Um, so at the moment, you just want to make sure all is able to see the syllabus.
Yeah, your screen is sharing.
So what I'd like to start off with is just to make sure that you all know how to um, work with accessibility with Acrobat. Many of you may already know from the previous sessions about saving your Word document, saving your slide deck to PDF file by exporting it through those platforms. Um, so that brings us here. And we want to make sure that if we do choose to provide a PDF, how to set it up. Uh, so many of you, and I do want to point out as well, to be able to edit PDF files, you will need the Acrobat Pro version. And I will tell you too that I am working uh, to hopefully make this software more accessible, appropriate word to use in a different way for today, for you to hopefully not be able have to pay or pay less to get access to this. Um, so prepare for accessibility. It's possible that it may be further down and initially hidden within those initial tools. And if the tools are not currently visible on your screen, by clicking the All Tools under the menu button will bring us there. So if you did click on More, View More, you should be able to see Prepare Accessibility. You do have the ability to drag it somewhere that's more appropriate, easier to access. So within Prepare for Accessibility, we have multiple tools. The first thing that we want to do, and let me just realize I have some of you present shared on the screen. Fortunately, I haven't had to get to that side yet. So we want to check for accessibility within the Prepare for Accessibility. Um, it provides multiple options, especially initially when working with this. It can be overwhelming. As far as category, you do have the ability to break it down by what you're wanting to review. I just encourage keep it with the default document category, which means basically reviewing everything. So let's click start checking. All right. And so after the checking is completed, we do see some red, we see X's. We also see within the document that it identified this document as an image only PDF file. So what does that mean? In most cases, the way a PDF file is created in a form like this is using a scanner or using like a copy machine to be able to scan multiple pages in, such as this example. Unfortunately, most copy machines do not provide a feature of OCRing the document. What also means optical character recognition. So short for that, recognizing the content of this. So I've already done each of these steps. So I just wanted to talk through these real quick. Tag PDF. It is basically assigning portions of the document what type of content it is. So developing a structure, organized structure of the document. Primary language, so it didn't identify if, in this case, should be English. So, and actually what I will show too is, for example, a quick fix here. By clicking on primary language, we can fix that. So the first option, and so we are then shown which language we would like. We would like English. Title, this is another one that failed because in this, in ways it's good that this happened, as it is showing a title, but initially it showed that it failed. Sometimes that does happen. When I did this earlier, that was blank, and so that must have come up while I was creating an accessible version of this. But basically, what you would see most of the times, if title fails, that all fields are blank. All you have to worry about is title to make it more accessible. And then bookmarks, don't want to go too deep into that. So this gives you an initial feel of a document, scanned document, that initially is identified as an image. So we will now switch over to this more accessible document since it was OCR'd. So identifying the content, the tags, it was tagged, and I'm about to show you that. And then the rest of this was completed. Now, especially with scanned documents, very difficult at times because it might not pick up everything. So going back quickly to the inaccessible document, if you try to highlight anything, it will just make boxes, or if you single click on it, it will highlight the entire page. You're not able to highlight it as you could do as in a Word document, or like here. This, after it has been OCR and you're able to highlight individual content, This gives you a sense of its reading order as well. Okay, so with reading order, that brings us to a good spot of looking at the tags. So we see here that this passed the tagged PDF test. And this is what tags are. So if you're not familiar with developing a web page, this would represent, so H2, H with the numbers, a heading. So in this case, it identified chapter, and if you expand that, you can see any text associated with it. Click on the next tag, so this information, I guess, of the reference of this document. It identified that boxed or bordered content as that paragraph. So just skimming through here quickly, so here's an L. This represent lists. So if we click on that, yes, it does show what is selected there. So if we click on each one, so the first list item, what we do see is this gives us a sense of the reading order, and specifically for those using text recognition, and so like text to speech and specifically screen readers. So the order that we see right here shows it reading number one, but then and let me zoom in a little bit to make it easier for you to be able to read. So clicking on that again shows the order that it would be read aloud by a screen reader. So can provide Mitchell, if you go ahead and if you haven't already, provide that link to the digital accessibility toolbox within
Yeah,
PDFs and documents.
sure. And Michelle Hardy has a question.
Yeah, thank you for letting me know. Yeah, I'm just staring at my screen.
No worries.
Please
Dal,
add.
so I'm in a PDF right now, and I saw that you were in the accessibility tabs on the side window. How do you get to that from the logical or reading order needs manual check and the accessibility checker?
And I thank you very much for asking that because I meant to say that, show you how to do that. So similarly, on the left side, I showed you how to find the prepare for accessibility. On the right side, within this pane, if you right click there, you then have the ability to choose tools or buttons of tools to use. And so the accessibility tags is what you would need to check. And that would add it to this pane. And then you'd easily be able to access that later. So I want to be mindful of time, and as we are flying through here, and again, Mitchell, yes, please let me know if any questions pop up.
Sure.
So I'm going to give you a better sense of more an actual document that was converted through a Word document, so converted through Word. So we will look at the prepare for accessibility, and what we want to do is click on Fix Reading Order. Okay, so what this does is it shows all of the portions that it identifies. Um, right now, it's showing the order in which each section will be read. So the order of the page content. Structure type. So within this reading order panel, structure type shows us what is associated with it within the tags. So we certainly want to use heading structures appropriately for the heading tags to structure the document appropriately. And so what we can do is, while having reading order open, we can select content, whether we select the entire content. So I selected University 101 syllabus, so the title of the syllabus, and that should be heading 1. All right. And so when we then go to tags, and you might have noticed that I minimized it and then maximized the document, because it doesn't always show it immediately within the tags. There's still some glitches here of the changes I've seen. So best practice is to have one heading one, level 1, kind of as if you think of a table of contents. And so then the next appropriate one could be the instructor. So I will select that. And actually, in this case, I'll just select half of it to show that no. I take back what I said. My apologies of thinking of something else. Make sure you do tag put a box around all of the content that you want to change to a different tag. So this would be a heading 2. So we have the main heading, we have heading 2. So I'll click that, and you see how the light elements, so elements that are all paragraph, that's why it shrunk the way it did, the gray area. So I want to quickly go to figure. Within the other sessions, alt text has been spoken much of, just to give you a sense. But I wanted to use this example because it can be easy to get a screenshot of content and then paste it within our documents. But that leads to poor practice and inaccessible content, because when thinking about alt text and images, in like in the other sessions, how you could put a clue or just a very brief description of that image and refer to content below it or right above it. But in this case, this is poor practice of using these columns. As it can be easy to do, this would be a better situation to use a table. And so that's what I did do, as far as, and I'm sorry, I don't have that open. Let me grab that real quick, and then I do want to be respectful of time again. And we can talk through any questions that you have. Sorry for this delay. If there, please go ahead and start um, sharing any questions you have.
Dow, while we're waiting, I'll just go ahead and ask. So if you already use the heading structure in a Word document and you already add the alternative text in a Word document and you save to PDF, all of that information is carried forward, right?
Yes, it should be. Um, if yes, so basically, if you are following best practices of your Word PowerPoint, yes, um, that will transfer with the data through the conversion. So yes, that good question.
And we did have a question. If a document is image only, how can you integrate OCR into the PDF? And that's something that you have to have Acrobat Pro to do, right?
Correct. Now, I do think that you are able to um, if you just have the free version. So there is scan and OCR option within the limited tools. I do believe that scan and OCR within the tools would at least so correct recognized text or in this case yeah but you should be able to convert it um, going forward, though, as far as the tagging piece, the appropriate reading order, that would not be available.
Right. And in Blackboard, it can create an OCR PDF for you, but it's not guaranteed that those tags are accurate, right?
Correct. Right. And I'm sorry as far as the other file that I was thinking I had ready. My apologies for not um, getting to that. Um, so going back to this, I just wanted to say, especially if it's full of full of text, what's a different way to make it just plain text that you're able to highlight that is then accessible, especially for screen readers, screen reader users. So that tool or other types. Now, one thing that I think was learned with in the ally session is how you students and all of us have the ability to converting your provided document to a different format. And one thing that I'd like to point out is the importance of the reading order. If a student or whoever chooses the audio format, it would read it in the order that, such as these tags here, um, it would read it within this order. So I'm just tapping down each tag, and so the audio format that was created by Ally, it would be read that way. Fast forward to that image, it would read the alt text, which was general. Just basically saying, saying that it was a table. Um, yeah, there we go. So let me find that other figure.
And so, Dow, we have a question. So we could turn the tag type from a figure into a table and then be able to edit the text, or would rerunning the OCR then identify that the figure as text within a table?
You could try that. That would that would be difficult. So going into so an example of so this is the table of the order. So understanding how to tag it appropriately, and it also depends on the accuracy of the words. Um, I
And then
want to be
would it also recognize like that top layer as being a header for the table?
maybe not.
Yeah.
That's the way it is with and as you can see, this content looks pretty clear, and most likely it would be able to recognize the words appropriately. But how it lays out that table, um, there is, and what I just thought of too is you do have the ability. So
And and we have another question, if it's all right if I read
sure,
it to you,
go ahead.
because we have a minute.
Yeah,
And I'm going to combine these questions. So this is very time-intensive process that seems to me could be assisted by AI. I just did a search, and indeed some products such as Adobe Studio have integrated AI to do most of this work, though there may need to be some human checking. Do we have access to those tools? Um, and then Michelle Bryan uh, also asked about the Creative Cloud, which costs $200 and includes Pro. Do we know if the university will be purchasing a license for Pro alone? And it's if so, it may be helpful given the new expectations.
correct. So actually, what I was referring to related to that earlier is uh, there is, fortunately, there is access right now to purchase Acrobat Pro by itself for $50.
Right.
Where, yeah, and what I was referring to is hopefully bringing that further down.
And then do we have access to any additional tools that may automate this for anybody?
At this time, I am not aware of any additional um, tools that would like work with Acrobat.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't have a definite answer, but I do appreciate the question. because we are seeing AI helping in more and more ways. Um, so yeah, I will definitely note that and uh, take a look.
So we are at time, so I do uh like I don't know, Dal, if you have any time that you could stick around for a couple of minutes in case there are additional questions.
Sure.
But I want to respect folks' time. Thank you so much for joining us. If you could, you're going to receive a follow-up survey and some links to some additional URLs following this presentation. If you could please, please, please provide feedback through that survey. This is an ongoing improvement process for us. This is our first time doing micro learning, and additionally, we want to make sure these sessions are beneficial to people. So please provide us feedback as you are able. But thank you so much. And if we have additional questions, please feel free to ask now.
So, Lauren, I see a question. Do you have a recommended source for helping us understand best practices for things like tagging and reading order? Um, so that, yes, I think if you search for, um, but is there a best order for screen readers? So the as far as the order for screen readers, that is where um, tags apply. Uh, so I touched on it going down tag by tag, uh, and and so that's what we want to see, that it's reading in that appropriate order. That's what the screen reader is dependent upon. If there are no tags, then it recognizes it just as an image, even though what I didn't show was you could still highlight content, but if it's not a tagged PDF for screen reader users, it will not be able to read it.
Yes, I do understand that that's what tags do, but I guess my question is more, like for example, you highlighted a table of, I believe it was like a course schedule at the end of the syllabus, and it had tags on it that would tell a screen reader the order to go in. But how do we know? Yes, like it's tagged, and maybe Adobe automatically made those tags for us, but how do we know if it's actually the right order?
And so that was the way that I knew that is because it was created within Word, and so the table was created so with Word, and then similar to what we were saying with alt text, that will transfer with through the conversion to a PDF. So if you build up, if you had the opportunity of attending the one about Word accessibility and creating an accessible table there within Word, with that, when it was converted, if it's correct in Word, it will be correct in Acrobat. And so the PDF file, it's much more in depth if it's a PDF file that is like scanned. And so I want to be
Yeah,
respectful of
I'm
time.
also thinking about PDFs that we may have gotten from other sources like websites that, we
Mhm.
don't have the original Word document to
Yeah.
back it up. But I think I may be almost hearing that there needs to be a little bit of just trust here that if it's tagged, that I can somewhat trust that the order is okay.
If you were the creator within, like I shared, If your source is from somewhere else, that's where doing this checking and so as what's still shown within a table, and then the TR for table rows, by clicking on each of them, as you're seeing now, it will show what's within that table row. And then the TD is a table data. And so that's what you would want to check. If this is a document someone else has created, and to be sure that it is accessible table.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question. And
And
if it isn't, and if is a lot of accessibility challenges with that, is there an alternative? And I do understand sometimes that's makes the challenge even bigger, finding something else, if anything. So thank you. And thank you for your time.
And I was just going to say, I have to end the session soon, but that was a
Yes.
really good question, Lauren. Like Dow said, I might check to see if it has been updated previously on like a site. And if you want to check, you can check through Adobe. And then if it's something that you usually source yourself, see if the library can help you locate it. If you have like a syllabus, you can submit a syllabus to them and see if there's like a source that you can hyperlink to rather than hosting the PDF like in Blackboard itself. But there's some options for that. But thank you all so much. I have a 3 o'clock and take care. Thank you, Dow.
Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome.